Hello everyone, I am the Arty Dans and welcome back to the channel. We've got another horror movie quiz for you, or trivia for you. This time, I promise you, it is easy. It is a beginner's level Asian horror movie trivia. Now, I think you should get at least 13 right. So I'm going to pop up the scorecard on the screen, and this is what I'm looking for from you. Like I said, I think this is a relatively easy quiz. However, there are a couple of slightly tricky ones at the start. But after that, they're all very easy. And like I said, you should score pretty well. Now, the rules, it is multiple choice. I will give you about 10-15 seconds per question. Answer A, B, C. That's all you've got to do. Tally up your correct answers at the end, and then we'll have a look at how you went. Now, let's get on with the quiz, and I'm starting with an easy one, I promise you. Who is the director of Ringu? Hideo Nakata, Takashi Miike, Kiyoshi Kurosawa. The correct answer is Hideo Nakata. Hey, I told you we were going to start easy, right? Now, have you seen the American remake? And what did you think of it? A lot of people say the original Japanese is the best, and I'd agree. Next question. What country is the movie Double Vision from? Mainland China, Taiwan, Hong Kong? And the correct answer is Taiwan. Okay, so maybe this wasn't an easy question, but I still think that the answers kind of gave it away. It was always going to be a Chinese language answer, but all you have to do is just guess the right country. Taiwan is it. Now, this is actually not a bad film. It's from 2002. It stars an American Taiwanese cast, and it's probably something that I really recommend you should hunt down and watch if you haven't seen it. Which Taiwanese horror movie features a haunted house and a mysterious family curse? The Heirloom, The Tag-Along, Detention. And the correct answer is The Heirloom. Now, the reason I think this one was an easy question is because if you've seen Detention, you know that's about more like a communist theme of a schoolgirl. The Tag-Along is about, a supernatural theme happening to a family that has this being that just won't leave them alone. So, by definition of, what do you call that? Elimination? The Heirloom is the right answer. God, I hope you got 3 from 3 now, because otherwise I look a bit foolish calling this an easy quiz. But I promise they get easier from now on. What country is the movie Dream Home from? Taiwan, Japan, Hong Kong. And the correct answer is Hong Kong. If you are a fan of the channel, you will know that I absolutely adore this movie. Is something that you must watch, from 2010, starring Josephine Ho. It is just one of those movies that subverts a little bit of your expectation. It is extremely gory. It is very Cat 3. In fact, if you watched the trivia from last week, the Cat 3 one, you would have seen a question about the Dream Home pop up. So hopefully you still remembered that. On to the next one. Who directed the Indonesian horror film May the Devil Take You? Joko Anwar, Kimo Stamboel, Timo Tjanto. The correct answer is Timo Tjanto. All 3 of those directors are solid directors, and you can't go wrong with any of their films. If you ever see any of those 3 names attached to a movie, it's definitely something that you should watch, especially when Kimo and Timo team up together to make a movie, as they did with Macabre, back with Julia Estelle, 2009. Now, controversial opinion, not a big fan of this movie. Sorry. On to the next question. Which Hong Kong horror film involves a woman who makes age-defying dumplings? Dumplings, Inner Senses, Rigor Mortis. And the correct answer is Dumplings. Okay. Captain Obvious, perhaps a little bit too easy, right? But I did have to throw in a really easy question for you. Now, have you seen Dumplings? It is very awesome. It's very kind of icky. Is that a right word? Icky. Just about the idea of I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but it is about dumplings, and it is about fetuses. And If you want to get a bit of a taste test about the movie, try and hunt down the film The Three Extremes. There is a shortened version of Dumplings in that anthology series, and if you like that, then there's the full version available for you. What country is the movie One Missed Call from? South Korea, Japan, Thailand. The correct answer is Japan. One Missed Call, I really like the film. I really like the original one. I don't like the two sequels that came out afterwards because I thought there was just a really unnecessary need to try and pad out the folklore, especially when they go to Taiwan and South Korea. Just why? There's no need to. The first one is the best, and of course that ringtone was so awesome. I remember loading it up on my old mobile phone. The problem is no one got what the reference was for, so it was kind of a waste. Anyway, on to the next one. Who is the director of Pulse, also known as Cairo? Hideo Nakata, Takashi Miike, Kiyoshi Kurosawa. The correct answer is Kiyoshi Kurosawa. Controversial opinion? Hated the film. Hated it. And I know a lot of people out there love it. I hated it. What country is the movie The Wailing from? Japan, South Korea, the Philippines. The correct answer is South Korea. It's not often that a 2-hour, 30-minute horror movie will have me on the edge of my seat. And that might seem like a really long title to want to stick your teeth into, but trust me, it's worth it at the end. The Wailing is one of South Korea's best ever horror films. Which movie is about a photographer who discovers ghostly images in his photographs after a tragic accident? Ju-on The Grudge, The Eye, Shutter. And the correct answer is Shutter. This very creative Thai horror film, Shutter, was actually really, really fun movie to watch. But then again, it was remade by the Americans, which kind of took away a little bit of the fun of the film. And I don't think the American film has ruined the original Taiwanese legacy of it, and certainly not. It's the 20th anniversary of Shutter, and if you're lucky enough, some cinemas around the world are actually playing a special 20th anniversary print of the film, something that I would recommend going and watching if you have a chance to get this one in the cinema, because Shutter is a great film. The American one, not so much. Who is the director of The Eye? Wong Kar-wai, the Pang brothers, John Woo. And the correct answer is the Pang brothers. The Eye and its sequels, another one of those really kind of icky horror movies because I just don't touch eyeballs. I hate it when eyeballs get touched in movies. Now, interesting thing is, it is the brothers, the Pang brothers, Oxidi Pang and Danny Pang, who have now kind of gone off their separate ways and gone off to make completely different movies. They're now making a lot of action movies in mainland China. Although Danny Pang, or was it Oxidi? One of them directed the 2015 Chinese horror film, The Strange House, which is actually one of the better Chinese horror movies. I feel like when an international director goes to China to make a horror film, they do a much better job than the local directors. Definitely one movie to watch. Now, I'm just thinking one of the answers there was Wong Kar-wai. Could you imagine how boring a Wong Kar-wai horror film would be? Which mainland Chinese horror film is set in a haunted mansion? Silk, The House That Never Dies, The Eye. The correct answer is The House That Never Dies. Now, what's interesting about that question is The Eye is not from mainland China. So by process of elimination, you could have ruled that one out straight away. And I think when the question says haunted mansion and you see an answer that says The House That Never Dies, I reckon that's a pretty good clue there as to which movie it is. Did you get it right? Now, there are two movies in the House That Never Dies series. The first one stars Ruby Lin, and the second one, can't remember who is in the second one. But if you were to choose between the two films, I'd probably go for the first one over the second one, even though the second one I believe is the top box office earner. Actually, no, it's the first one, is the top box office earner in China for horror films. So definitely actually watch the first one instead. What country is the movie The Sadness from? Taiwan, Japan, South Korea. The correct answer is Taiwan. Do you remember when The Sadness came out a few years ago? It was a big, big deal. The movie was based on, what was it, a webtoon or some kind of comic by the same name. And the director, Rob Jabaz, I think was responsible for that comic. And he really brought it to life in this super, super gory Taiwanese zombie film. Unfortunately, while I appreciated some of the gore and I appreciated the support cast, I always thought that the two main actors in it were kind of weak and kind of brought down the movie itself. So I would love to have seen that movie with two slightly better lead actors, because I think there was a lot of potential to be a really, really good movie there. But if you're a gore hound and if you're a bloodhound, it's definitely a film for you. Which Indonesian horror film is about a family haunted by the deceased mother? May the Devil Take You, Kuntilanak, Pengabdi Setan. And the correct answer is Pengabdi Setan, also known as Satan's Slaves. Without a doubt. No questions asked. No need to think about it. The best Indonesian horror movie ever. The 2017 remake from Joko Anwar of Pengabdi Setan. It's a remake of the 1982, or was it 1980 original, which is still, it's a bit campy by today's standards. If you go back and watch it, it has a lot of that very early 80s horror vibe. In fact, you can really see the inspiration for the Evil Dead in Pengabdi Setan. But if you get a chance to watch the 2017 one, if you haven't seen it, it's an absolute must. The 2022 sequel, Communion, Satan's Slaves 2 Communion, is also a chef's kiss, even though I felt the ending was getting a little bit off rails with Yoko trying to explain what was going on with the family. But definitely, Satan's Slaves, best Indonesian horror movie ever. Who is the director of Noroi, The Curse? Koji Shiraishi, Takashi Miike, Hideo Nakata. The correct answer is Koji Shiraishi. Alright, controversial opinion again. Just like The Pulse, I hated Noroi the Curse. I don't know why. I just hated it. I know why. It's because everyone makes a big deal about the film. Everyone just goes on and on about how it's the scariest movie ever, and how that ridiculous scene of that woman who stumbles over herself walking down a hallway, and this whole idea about the internet being scary, and it's just boring. It really, really is boring. Think about it for a minute. Just honestly, think about it for a minute. It's a boring film. Anyway, we've come to the end of the quiz. 15 questions. Tally up your answers. Tell me how you went. I'm thinking 12 to 13. Am I wrong? Here is the scorecard now of what I hoped that you scored. Really wouldn't think that you would have scored between 0 and 4. That's just way too low. There's no way. Those questions were far too easy. So leave a comment below with your score and what you thought of these questions. Were they too easy? Were they too hard? Is my opinion of Noroi and Pulse just way off track? And they are the most brilliant J-horror movies ever. I am the Arty Dans. You are watching my channel. Thank you for tuning into this trivia. I will have another one for you very shortly. Catch you next time.